Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. I'm Dose, and today we're just going to have a quick conversation about the opening two games of the 2026 FIFA World Cup between Mexico and South Africa, and South Korea and Czechia. Right, so getting straight into it, or before I do, like, comment, share, and subscribe, right? And I apologize for this early upload or late upload for some people. I'm still trying to figure out when is the best time to upload, given all the analytics and such, because the games finish so late at night. So I'm still trying to figure it out. We will eventually, but let's just jump straight into it. So the first game between Mexico and South Africa, right? Mexico came out very calm and conservative despite the atmosphere in the Azteca. The entire pre-game show, it just added to the stage. The anthems were beautiful. The Mexican players were crying, and understandably so. The co-hosts in front of a sold-out crowd singing on one accord. It started, in my opinion, how every World Cup should start, which is emotional. It was refreshing to see people like Tyler from South Africa and Canelo Alvarez, the boxer from Mexico. Sometimes you forget how big of a spectacle the World Cup really is, and I believe having it every 4 years is the reason for that. But in my opinion, that makes it all the more special, right? So getting into the game a little bit, Mexico had much of the ball early, but were reluctant to take much risks. And to be fair, a lot of that had to do with the formation South Africa were playing. A very defensive five at the back with three midfielders sitting. But that conservative approach by the Mexicans was interesting coming out of the gates. And to be honest, some of the fans were becoming a bit anxious with the passing back and the passing side to side. But that being said, as soon as I saw South Africa lose possession and Mexico break with pace and purpose, I understood what the game plan was. Right? The first goal was a clear example of the intent on pressuring South Africa into making mistakes to subsequently punish. Sid Hoole from South Africa took a heavy touch on the edge of the box after receiving a simple pass, and Lira pounced on him, knocking the ball into the path of Quinones, who fired it through the keeper's legs. A great finish. It was an absolutely great finish. Right, despite the goal, which came early, I believe in the ninth minute it was, Mexico, in my opinion, looked far and away the better side, and I expected that from a team that was unbeaten all year despite only playing friendlies. They looked the more composed side, who had a clear understanding of the game plan and executed it to perfection. So I think I wrote in my notes over here on more than one occasion that Mexico were looking dangerous on the counter. But shortly after scoring the goal, they again became more conservative and started to dress back, as if they were telling the crowd, yes, we know we took the lead and we're all excited, but let's stay composed and refrain from getting a rush of blood to the head. It was only been 9 minutes. So I could have understood why they wanted to calm things down and just, let's get the early goal, let's just settle in a bit more, and then we can look to attack later on. So they still had chances going forward and squandered some of them, but it was understandable given it was the first game and everyone was still trying to find their footing. Gutierrez was getting into some good positions but missing everything. He was missing everything, but he's only 22, right? So getting into later on in the first half, the hydration breaks I found were just very interesting. It was just a testament to how westernized the game is becoming, and that's not a bad thing. It just dawned on me that most sports in America are interrupted at several junctures during a game with the intention of playing ads, while play is temporarily halted. So I knew there were hydration breaks in the Qatar World Cup, but for some unfortunate reason, I only took notice of the ads and such this time around. Right? So that aside, the water breaks, they're gonna bring another dimension to how matches are being decided. So, for example, the stopping of momentum of a team that's been applying pressure and the subsequent ability of another team to catch their breath and regroup. Also, the power it gives the coaches, right? It allowing the coaches to change game plans and tactics quicker and more effectively since all the players are in one locale for a few minutes, right? Teams are going to have to adjust and be cognizant of this, especially when we get into the knockout stages. So now moving on to the serious storyline of the game, right? I don't think we should be having conversations about referees this early. I don't want to have a conversation about the referee this early. But three red cards in one half in the first game was absolutely staggering for me, right? First red card received by Sithole was completely understandable, preventing a clear goal scoring opportunity. It was unfortunate, but fair. Like you could have seen why he was given a red card. Those red cards are given all the time. The red card for Zwane, though, I found it to be a bit harsh given the circumstance, and it didn't look intentional for me. It was a slap, yes. It was unnecessary where his hand was, but it just didn't look intentional. And then the third red on Montez of Mexico. I did not think that was a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. I didn't think Mudau had an opportunity, a clear opportunity to score. Maybe I'd have to watch it again to be sure. But three red cards, I mean, who could have written that script? That was absolutely crazy. But before the count on the field was reduced to 19 men, Raul Jimenez scored his first World Cup goal for Mexico, a header from close range after a beautiful cross into the box by Alvarado. It was an emotional one for Raul, a fantasy legend, if you know, you know. So you can see how much it meant to him in what looks to be his last World Cup for L3. And I think I read somewhere that his father passed really recently and he dedicated that goal to his father. So all that's really nice. I'm a big fan of Raul. Had him in my fantasy. He's a great player. I'm rooting for him. So Mexico, though, they were deservedly winners on the day. Clearly the better team and faced South Korea next in Mexico, with both teams vying for first place position in Group A. And just quickly on the second game of Group A between South Korea and Czechia in Guadalajara. The pre-match rollout again was insane. The presentation this World Cup, for me, has been my favorite out of all the World Cups. I really do like the players, all the players, including the substitutes around the semicircle, singing their national anthems and things of that nature for the introductory proceedings. I'm a big fan of that. I find that look really good. Getting into the game, firstly, you can see Korea came to play. Like they came game. And you can see it in their willingness to keep possession and their comfort in possession. The crisp passing and the good first touches. The talent level looked heavily in the favor of South Korea. Right? They had a couple of good chances early on through Son and Kang In Lee as they applied the pressure. But Czechia seemed to take a little while to settle into the proceedings with some sloppy passes, poor first touches, and just overall nervous play. Right? But you could see that they were confident in their set pieces, having scored 7 goals in the Euro qualifiers, the most amongst any European team. And again, I wrote down a few times in my notes over here that how threatening Czechia did look on set pieces throughout the game. One thing I did notice though, just as an aside, at about 32 minutes, the stadium went really quiet. Mexico had taken their foot off of the gas, and obviously Czechia, they like to concede possession. Right, so the stadium went quiet, and then I noticed the amount of empty seats it had in the stadium, which is strange, right? Given the prices of tickets and several FIFA officials coming out and highlighting the sold out state of this year's World Cup, right? That was a bit strange, but that's a conversation for later as we get deeper into the knockout rounds. But it was still a bit concerning. So Czechia eventually grew into the game, and South Korea was still getting chances, and I counted at least 3 missed chances by Son Heung-min. With 2 of them, he needed to be better on. And apparently, he hasn't scored a goal in the MLS for LAFC since February, which is very concerning if I am a South Korea fan. Like, very concerning. Nowhere near close to top form, in my opinion. So I wasn't really sure if it was the 2 defenses playing really good or just the lack of quality in the final third by both sides, right? So after halftime, both teams exchanged chances until Czechia scored, broke the deadlock from a long throw in the 58th minute against the run of play, right? But Karachi, the captain, with a great header to open the scoring. South Korea must have been feeling like they should have done better with their chances, given that Czechia opened the scoring. But like most teams who go 1-0 down, they responded almost immediately and in a big way. Hwang Hee-chan, I believe, came on and changed the game a little bit. I remember tweeting, where is Kang In Lee? Like, doesn't he play for PSG? Like, he's supposed to be a really good player. He wasn't being aggressive at all, passing side to side, not really being direct. And then a few minutes later, in the 6-7 minute, he provided a wonderful assist into the path of Bomb, who equalized with a wonderful finish after sending 2 players the wrong way. It was a great finish. It was a great finish. Definitely goal of the tournament so far, even though it's only 5 goals. But in my opinion, so far, it's pretty good. Right? So there was another hydration break again halfway through the second half. Right? And Czechia scored right after the hydration break. right after through Suchek, but it was offside. And Korea, it seemed purposeful that they were playing such a high line just to kind of mediate the threat of Czechia's set pieces. Right, they were playing a high line even in open play. It was high line and inshallah, like Barcelona and Tottenham. It was crazy, right? So the offside goal by Suchek, it seemed to fully wake up Kang In Lee, and he was playing like a five-star level talent. He was playing like if he was playing for PSG. And after some patient build-up play between the lines of the Czechia team, Korea scored again through O with Mbom providing an assist this time. He scored the first goal and then he provided the assist for the second. So it must be said that Czechia did try to get back into the game, but Korea's keeper was outstanding. Kim, he was outstanding and made sure to do his part in preserving the lead for his team. He made a great save getting onto his right in the 82nd minute and another great save in the last minute of the game to secure all 3 points. The first two games were really entertaining for the first day of the tournament, in my opinion, and the results were expected given the strength of both teams. I thought Mexico was going to win. I thought South Korea was going to win. Both of them look really comfortable, really assured. And it was never really in doubt for me. And now all eyes are on the next fixture in Group A between Mexico and South Korea in Guadalajara in 6 days next week. So I'm really looking forward to that. Really looking forward to the fixtures today. Co-host Canada kick us off today at 3 p.m. local time versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. And then later at 9 p.m., another co-host, the USA, the main host, some would say, kick off their campaign versus Paraguay in Los Angeles at 9 p.m. this evening. So again, guys, thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all later for the next one. Peace.